This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. And the fraud is mind-boggling.
It's been total madness ever since the Bureau of Investigation dropped that bomb about the NBA's gambling scandal.
Bringing 4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare.
And word on the street is the Mafia might be involved too. This isn't just some locker room rumor anymore. This is big, messy, and straight up wild.
These dudes are stupid, and I'm just ashamed. Under no circumstances can you fix basketball game.
NBA stars are losing it right now, and trust me, they're not staying quiet about it. Emotions are high, tempers are flaring, and the league's image is hanging by a thread.
I know everybody that's at play, and I don't like to sit up here and be hypocritical about certain things. I homeboy gamble, Ernie. You know, bet it. You know, we've been on teams. We played cards. We played spades. We played top.
When the arrest went down on October 23rd, 2025, everything exploded. From disbelief to outrage to deep disappointment, every corner of the basketball world had something to say. But nothing hit harder than what went down live on TNT's Inside the NBA. 3 legends, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith, sat there in real time, reacting like the rest of us, and they did not hold back. Their exchange was raw, emotional, and straight from the heart. Shaq was the first to speak, and man, you could feel the hurt in his voice.
Every year they would give us forums on what and what not to do. One of those things where if somebody asks you if a certain player is playing, you say no. So all these guys knew what was at stake, and I'm just ashamed that they put themselves and put their family and put the NBA in this position.
He looked like someone who just found out his own brother had betrayed him. His point came through crystal clear. This wasn't about confusion or small slip-ups. These weren't innocent mistakes or gray areas, Shaq said, his tone cutting through the noise like a blade. Every single player, coach, and team staff member in the NBA gets a yearly crash course on gambling rules. They know exactly what's allowed and what'll get them banned for life. So when Shaq asked that follow-up question, it hit like a punch to the gut. Everyone knew the league had been crystal clear about this. No excuses, no gray areas, period.
So if you're making $9 million and you're dealing in certain things, like how much more do you need?
He continued.
Especially if you know you get caught, you can do jail time, lose your career. You know, put a bad image on yourself or your family or on the NBA. I agree with you, Chuck. They dropped the ball.
But then Kenny Smith stepped in and flipped the whole vibe with a totally different take. His words sparked instant chaos on set. Kenny argued that gambling addiction doesn't care about your fame, your millions, or your common sense. He said it's not just bad judgment, it's a disease that hijacks your brain. Basically, blaming someone with a gambling problem for losing control, he said, misses the whole point of what addiction is. That's when Charles Barkley came swinging. He shut that down fast. In his eyes, this wasn't addiction. It was plain old greed and stupidity. Charles didn't sugarcoat a thing. He said, if you're making $26 million a year and still fixing games for pocket change, that's total stupidity.
I think the other part is we have to realize gambling is an addiction. So the addiction of it is what makes you make illogical decisions. So not because you make $9 million.
That fiery back and forth wasn't just entertaining TV, it exposed the real moral divide in this scandal. Are these players victims of addiction, or are they just greedy traders who sold out the sport for quick cash? Outside the fiery TNT showdown, reactions from current coaches and players were more restrained, but just as powerful. Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle, who also happens to be the president of the National Basketball Coaches Association, didn't mince words. He called it a shocking day and a very serious situation. The craziest part? These arrests dropped just one day after the league's mandatory gambling briefings for all teams. Talk about terrible timing. Carlisle even tried to reach out to Chauncey Billups, one of the names swirling in this scandal, but got nothing back. Total silence. Meanwhile, Lakers coach J.J. Redick, who just recently hung up his jersey, said the whole thing had players and staff shook. He confirmed that team meetings were held to re-emphasize the NBA's zero-tolerance stance on betting, but his tone hinted that people were seriously rattled. Then came the whispers from inside the league, and they were chilling.
There are people who are making, as the FBI director said, there's a man who lost $1.8 million. That means he has a lot of money. So he has an addiction to that, those fish that they talk about that they were bringing in. So gambling is an addiction which can make you make illogical decisions regardless of your ethnic background, regardless of your physical background, and regardless of your financial status.
One front office exec said the atmosphere flipped overnight from preseason hype to straight up paranoia. Everyone's asking the same question. Who else is involved? Another player agent admitted he wasn't surprised they got caught, just surprised it took this long. Gambling's happening everywhere, he said, hinting that temptation has seeped deep into the modern NBA. This isn't just a scandal anymore, it's a wake-up call for the whole league. The National Basketball Players Association dropped a statement that sounded calm on the surface, but you could feel the tension underneath. They said, "The integrity of the game remains our top priority," while also insisting that every accused player deserves fair treatment and due process. Still, the tone was tightrope walking, defending their members without looking like they were excusing anything. That's the real dilemma. How do you protect players' rights without making it seem like you're standing behind something this dirty? Meanwhile, social media went nuclear. On X, formerly Twitter, fans went off. Posts about alleged Mafia ties blew up instantly, with people calling out the NBA's hypocrisy, promoting betting apps left and right while players are getting arrested for gambling. The irony was too much for the internet to handle. Many users demanded tougher rules, especially banning prop bets on single-player stats, saying it opens the door to temptation and corruption. Over on Reddit, the fire was raging even harder. One top-voted post in NBA asked if this was proof of a systemic issue, not just a few bad apples. Another thread in r.
The reason I'm mad at Kenny is, man, this ain't got nothing to do with damn gambling addiction. This ain't got nothing to do with addiction. These dudes are stupid.
Why are they stupid?
You, under no circumstances can you fix basketball games. Under no circumstances.
Bill Simmons half-joked about shutting the league down, but under the jokes was real fear that fans might never trust what they're watching again. Even politicians couldn't stay out of it. Senator Richard Blumenthal called for national guardrails to stop similar scandals across all pro sports. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a proud Knicks fan, called it a stunning development that shocks the conscience. And Representative Paul Tonko didn't hold back either, saying this might be the darkest stain on basketball's reputation in decades. This whole disaster feels like the inevitable fallout from the wild, unchecked rise of the sports betting industry. And now the same companies that cashed in are scrambling to save face. Both DraftKings and FanDuel were quick to drop official statements, calling the allegations deeply disturbing and promising to protect the integrity of the game. But let's be real, critics aren't buying it. These companies made billions off the same betting frenzy that helped create the mess we're seeing now. The hypocrisy is screaming loud. So what happens next for the NBA and for pro sports in general? First off, buckle up for new rules and tighter control. Commissioner Adam Silver has been calling for federal regulations on sports betting for years, especially limits on those risky prop bets that tempt players to manipulate stats.
Come on, man, stop that. Ain't got nothing to do with addiction. That's just total stupidity on these two dudes' part.
Now, with this scandal blowing up, his warnings are finally getting attention, and this time, people are listening. Second, expect way tougher enforcement and surveillance. The NBA has already cracked down on injury reporting and fined teams for trying to play sneaky. But this scandal just exposed how many cracks are still in the system. The fact that one player was cleared by the NBA's own investigation, only to be arrested by the FBI 18 months later, is beyond embarrassing. It's a huge reality check for the league, and a signal that the old way of handling things just won't cut it anymore. And then comes the biggest issue of them all, trust. One user on social media summed it up perfectly, saying, "If you can bet on these games, why would you believe the games are real?" That comment hit like a gut punch. It's blunt, but it exposes the real fear. If fans start doubting that what they're watching is real competition instead of rigged entertainment, the entire foundation of pro sports starts to crumble. Once that trust is gone, it's game over for everyone. Sure, the NBA has seen betting scandals before. The most infamous one being back in 2007, when referee Tim Donaghy got caught giving out inside betting tips on games he officiated. That rocked the league, but somehow the NBA managed to survive it.
And look, let's not, mince words. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. That's what this is.
This time, though, things feel way more dangerous. Why? Because it's not just one rogue ref. It's multiple active and former players, coaches, and staff. That's a whole network, not an accident. Now everyone's asking the same burning question. How did this go down right under the NBA's nose? And what forces made it all possible? The whispers say it's not just about temptation, it's about schemes, mafia ties, and smart tech. To really grasp what the FBI uncovered, you've got to understand how deep this goes. This wasn't just a few buddies tossing bets for fun. This was a multi-year high-stakes operation that ran from December 2022 all the way to March 2024, manipulating odds, money, and reputations in one of the boldest hustles the league has ever seen. The FBI says this thing wasn't just a one-off. The scheme goes all the way back to 2019, when the first signs showed up in rigged poker games. But the main scandal, officially called Operation Nothing But Bet, is where things get wild. The idea was simple, and that's exactly what made it so dangerous. Here's how it worked. Insiders with direct access to NBA teams, players, coaches, trainers, or even people close to them would leak secret info to a circle of gamblers. We're talking non-public details like which players were sitting out, who was quietly injured, or who'd be leaving a game early. Then, using that inside scoop, the gamblers would place prop bets, wagers on specific player stats like points, rebounds, or assists, before any of that info hit the media. Think about it. If you already know a player's not going to perform or might not even touch the floor, that's not gambling anymore. That's straight up free money.
Which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera. Special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table.
As the FBI's Director Patel put it himself, it's basically insider trading for sports. This wasn't some small-time hustle. It was organized manipulation dressed up as luck. According to the official indictment, at least 7 NBA games were hit by this insider scheme. We're talking matchups like Lakers versus Bucks and Hornets versus Pelicans. But the real kicker came on April 6, 2023, during a Magic versus Cavaliers game. Insiders leaked that the Magic were benching key starters, leading one bettor to throw down $11,000 on the Cavs and walk away with a massive payday. This wasn't chance, it was strategy, corruption, and confidence all rolled into one. The Cavaliers crushed that game 118-94, and behind the scenes, the money trail was even uglier than anyone imagined. The FBI says the whole conspiracy ran deep, involving a crew of co-defendants with names straight out of a movie: Eric Spook Ernest, Mars Fairley Vino Locks, and Shane Sugar Hennon. These guys allegedly coordinated the bets, funneled insider NBA info to the gamblers, and then cleaned their profits through cash drops, bank wires, and peer-to-peer apps like it was just another day at the office. But here's what made this operation especially sneaky. It focused on prop bets, the fastest-growing slice of the gambling world. These are those flashy bets on individual player stats, like will player X score over or under 20.5 points? And fans love them. Since sports betting got legalized, these wagers have exploded. Just in the first 8 months of 2025, Americans threw down more than $100 billion on them. That's insane. And this is where things get messy for the NBA itself. Critics, including former Senator Bill Bradley, warned back in 2024 that the NBA's open arms toward betting companies would come back to bite them. And look at us now. The league's got partnerships with DraftKings and FanDuel, and betting ads are splashed all over every broadcast. It's a recipe for disaster. Ironically, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has always defended legalized betting, saying it helps catch corruption by flagging suspicious patterns. And to be fair, that's exactly how this scheme was caught. Those weird betting spikes on certain games triggered alerts in the sportsbook's monitoring systems, which led the FBI straight to Porter's operation. It's poetic justice, but also proof that the problem's already way bigger than anyone wanted to admit. Now here's where things take a turn straight out of a Hollywood crime movie. The FBI called it Operation Royal Flush, and trust me, this one's wild. We're talking rigged underground poker games running from Manhattan to the Hamptons, Las Vegas, and even Miami. 31 people have already been charged, and it sounds like something right out of Ocean's 11. The setup was genius and evil. The games were designed to lure in wealthy victims who thought they were being invited to play exclusive, high-stakes poker with retired NBA stars and other celebs. Big names like Billups and Jones were reportedly used to make the events look legit and glamorous. But what those victims didn't know? Everyone else at the table, the dealers, the players, even the so-called friends sitting next to them, were all part of the scam. And the tech behind it? Absolutely insane.
And when people refused to pay, these defendants did what organized crime has always done. They used threats, they used intimidation, and they used violence.
According to federal prosecutors, the crew used altered shuffling machines. Not your regular casino gear, but souped-up devices modified to read every single card in the deck as they were being mixed. These machines could predict which player would pull the winning hand and secretly send that info to someone watching from another location. It didn't stop there. They even had poker chip trays with hidden cameras built right in. Those tiny lenses could scan cards in real time, feeding live data to the scammers mid-game. It's like something out of a spy thriller. But this time, the stakes were millions, and the victims never stood a chance. It gets even crazier. The scammers had multiple ways to make sure they always knew what every player was holding. They weren't just cheating. They built a full-blown tech empire around deception.
Bringing 4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare. It reflects how deep and how far this investigation reached and the skill and the persistence it took to get here.
First off, there were special contact lenses and glasses. And get this, the cards were pre-marked with invisible ink that only showed up when viewed through those lenses. So while the victims thought they were playing fair, the con artists could literally see through the cards. Then came the real showstopper, X-ray poker tables. Yeah, you heard that right. These high-tech tables could actually read face-down cards right through the surface. Prosecutors even showed photos of the setup during their press conference. It looked like something straight out of a spy movie. Here's how it all went down. The off-site operator received data from the hacked shuffler, then sent that info through a burner phone to a player at the table known as the quarterback. That person's job? Secretly signal the other conspirators sitting around the table, a gesture, a tap, a cough, subtle moves that told them exactly what to do next. Together, they drained the victim's money hand after hand until the pot was cleaned out. One poor victim lost $1.8 million in a single night. Overall, the total confirmed losses have topped $7 million, and investigators say that number's still rising. But here's where it gets really dark. When some victims couldn't pay up or dared to push back, that's when the Mafia stepped in. The Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families weren't just loosely connected. They were deeply involved. These families already controlled most of New York's underground poker circuit. So when the rigged games appeared, they jumped right in, helping organize, protect, and of course, take their hefty cut of the winnings. And here's where things take a dark and dangerous turn, because this wasn't just about cheating rich gamblers out of their money. This was about control, fear, and violence. Prosecutors said the mob enforced debt payments through intimidation, threats, and even physical attacks. Some players who couldn't pay up were allegedly extorted, and in one shocking case, there was even a gunpoint robbery just to steal one of those rigged shuffling machines. That's how deep this operation went. Out of the 34 people charged, 13 were confirmed Mafia members or close associates. The list sounds straight out of a crime novel. Ernest Aiello, the acting Bonanno street boss, Louis Apicella and Amar Flapper Poker Adi, linked to the Gambino family, and Matthew Dino the wrestler from the Genovese crew.
The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling.
These weren't small-time crooks. They were seasoned enforcers with decades of underworld experience. The cash didn't just sit in bags either. The group laundered millions through shell companies, crypto transfers, and straight-up cash drops. Anything to keep the money trail cold. This network was so advanced, it took a joint task force. The FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, the NYPD, and even the Waterfront Commission, over 4 years to fully infiltrate and tear it down. Now, here's the big question everyone's been asking. How on earth did NBA figures get tangled up with organized crime? The answer might be simpler than it seems. These games were hosted in the kind of elite hotspots. Manhattan, the Hamptons, Miami, Las Vegas, where athletes, celebrities, and billionaire investors casually mingle. For many of these high rollers, the idea of playing private, high-stakes poker with famous NBA faces wasn't suspicious, it was irresistible, and that's exactly how the mob lured them in. What makes this whole situation even more disturbing is that not everyone involved may have known what they were walking into, at least not at first. Some experts have pointed out that professional athletes are constantly wary of being cheated in private games, which is exactly why many stick to regulated casinos or play only with trusted friends. So it's entirely possible that a few of these defendants were initially victims, tricked into the setup before getting compromised and pulled deeper into the con. But prosecutors say that's not the case for everyone. In fact, they're convinced that Chauncey Billups and Jones weren't fooled. They were full-on participants. The federal indictment accuses both of them of wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, and illegal gambling. And get this, each wire fraud charge alone carries a potential 20-year prison sentence. That's career-ending time if they're found guilty. The NBA wasted no time responding. Commissioner Adam Silver immediately placed Billups and Jones on administrative leave and issued a sharp statement declaring that the league takes these allegations with the utmost seriousness and that the integrity of our game remains our top priority. He also confirmed that the NBA has been working closely with federal investigators since day one. Still, the whole mess has sparked a huge question inside and outside the league. If the FBI could uncover a scheme this massive, how did the NBA miss it for so long? Fans and insiders alike are now wondering just how many blind spots exist in the league's own investigative system, and whether more secrets are about to spill out next. Let's not forget, the NBA already investigated Rozier back in 2023 and completely cleared him. Now that he's been arrested, people inside the league are panicking. One anonymous front office exec even admitted, fans are going to lose faith in our ability to handle investigations. And honestly, can you blame them? The scale of this scandal is still unraveling, and prosecutors are saying what we've seen so far is only the tip of the iceberg. Here's the full picture of what's been exposed, and it's straight up jaw-dropping. The FBI didn't just uncover one dirty scheme, they took down two separate but interconnected criminal empires.
And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
The first involved insider NBA info being sold for high-stakes prop bets, while the second revolved around rigged poker games, all backed by not one, not two, but four of New York's most feared Mafia families: the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crews. Yes, you read that right. In 2025, the Mafia is back in the game, shoulder to shoulder with NBA-linked figures. At a tense press conference in New York, FBI Director Kash Patel broke it all down. He called it a coordinated takedown that stretched across 11 different states, leading to multiple arrests for wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, and even armed robbery. This wasn't some side hustle or harmless betting pool. This was a full-blown criminal enterprise. According to federal prosecutors, the rigged poker scheme alone defrauded victims of at least $7 million, while the prop betting conspiracy could involve hundreds of millions in illegal wagers. The numbers are staggering, and the fallout? It's only getting started. Now let's get into the part everyone's been waiting for: the big names. Because when a scandal this massive blows up, the first question everyone asks is, which superstars are involved? And the names being thrown around are nothing short of shocking. But none hit harder than LeBron James. Not because he's accused of betting, but because someone close to him allegedly betrayed him in the worst way imaginable. According to the FBI's indictments, LeBron's longtime friend and former Cleveland teammate Damon Jones, who's been working with the Lakers as an unofficial assistant coach, secretly leaked non-public information about LeBron's injuries to gamblers. That's right. The man who used to celebrate with LeBron on the court was allegedly cashing in on his pain behind the scenes. One of the key moments happened on February 9th, 2023, just days after LeBron made history by breaking the NBA's all-time scoring record. The Lakers were set to play the Bucks, but before the official injury report dropped, Jones allegedly sent a text to his co-conspirators saying Player 3, identified as LeBron James, would sit out the game with ankle soreness. Using that insider info, the gamblers immediately bet heavy on Milwaukee, and guess what? The Bucks won 115-106, but it didn't stop there. It got worse. In January 2024, Jones allegedly leaked details about another Lakers star being on a minutes restriction due to injury. That tip led to a massive $100,000 bet placed on the Lakers to lose, and when they did, the payout was huge. So yeah, this isn't just business. This is betrayal, greed, and broken trust at the highest level of the game. Ironically, that Lakers game actually ended in a win, so the bet didn't pay off, but that's not the point. The intent was clear as day. Use private medical information to cheat the system and make a profit off something that never should have left the locker room. And here's the key thing everyone needs to understand. LeBron James had zero involvement. According to the FBI, he had no clue what Damon Jones was doing behind his back. In fact, LeBron is officially considered a victim in this mess, not an accomplice. So if LeBron's clean, who are the real villains here? That's where the spotlight turns to three major figures whose arrests shook the entire sports world: Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones.
Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table.
Federal indictments claim that Billups wasn't just a player. He was a ringleader in the underground poker games, allegedly using his star power to draw in unsuspecting victims known as fish. Prosecutors say he wasn't only playing, he was the face card, the celebrity presence meant to make the operation look high-end and trustworthy, convincing wealthy guests to buy in big. Little did they know, the entire game was rigged from the moment they sat down, and the technology used in these poker rooms? Straight up mind-blowing. Prosecutors revealed the crew relied on X-ray poker tables that could read cards face down, chip trays with hidden cameras, and modified shuffling machines capable of predicting who'd get the best hand. On top of that, they even used special contact lenses that could read cards marked with invisible ink. This wasn't some low-level hustle. This was a full-blown high-tech operation dressed up as a celebrity poker night, and Chauncey Billups was allegedly right in the center of it all. But hold on, things get even messier with Chauncey Billups. Federal documents suggest his role might go way deeper than just poker nights. An unnamed co-conspirator who investigators believe matches Billups' description allegedly leaked inside info that the Portland Trail Blazers plan to tank their March 24, 2023 matchup against the Chicago Bulls. The tip included which players would be rested, and right after that leak, over $100,000 in bets were placed on Portland to lose. And lose they did, badly. The Bulls crushed them 124-96. That game instantly raised eyebrows inside the league, and within hours, the NBA suspended Billups indefinitely. Assistant coach Tiago Splitter was named interim head coach, while Billups was ordered to surrender his passport and banned from all gambling activity pending trial. He's now set to face arraignment on November 24th in Brooklyn Federal Court. But Chauncey wasn't the only one dragged into this firestorm. Next up, Terry Rozier, aka Scary Terry. Currently a guard for the Miami Heat, Rozier was arrested in Orlando and slapped with charges of wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering, and his alleged actions cut right to the heart of basketball's integrity. Prosecutors claim that on March 23, 2023, back when Rozier was playing for the Charlotte Hornets, he tipped off his childhood friend Donaghy Laster that he planned to fake an injury and leave the game early. That information became gold for bettors who pounced before anyone else knew what was coming. These weren't random slip-ups. They were calculated moves that crossed every ethical line in the sport. Armed with that insider tip, Donaghy Laster and his crew went all in, dropping over $250,000 in underbets on Terry Rozier's game stats. And just like clockwork, Rozier checked out early, only 9 minutes in, scoring 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists before sitting down for injury management. The bets hit perfectly, cashing out for tens of thousands of dollars in profit, which prosecutors say Rozier then split with his friend. The NBA wasted no time. Rozier was immediately placed on leave, and things got serious fast. To secure his release, he posted his $6 million Miami mansion as bond after prosecutors pushed for $10 million. His lawyer, Jim Trusty, fired back hard, calling the case built on spectacularly unreliable sources and insisting Rozier never faked an injury. But the feds say the data and the betting records tell a different story. And then there's Damon Jones, the man who somehow managed to be caught up in both major scandals. He's facing charges in the insider betting scheme and the rigged poker ring. Beyond the leaked injury info about LeBron James and Anthony Davis, prosecutors claim Jones also acted as a face card alongside Chauncey Billups, helping to reel in wealthy players for those rigged high-stakes poker nights where every hand was stacked against them. Meanwhile, a few analysts and sportsbook insiders are trying to cool the fire, calling this a case of a few bad apples, not a league-wide epidemic. They argue that most players steer clear of shady gambling and point out that legal betting systems actually helped uncover this mess through red flag alerts. Still, with millions in illegal wagers, celebrity faces tied to organized crime, and careers crumbling overnight, calling this isolated feels like wishful thinking. But here's the thing, critics are firing back hard, saying the NBA's deep ties with betting companies have created a dangerous, money-hungry culture where integrity takes a back seat. They argue that when a league profits from gambling partnerships while preaching about fair play, it's basically setting the stage for corruption to thrive. And as for the defendants, things are looking grim. If convicted, wire fraud conspiracy alone could land them up to 20 years in federal prison, and money laundering tax on another 20 years on top of that. That's real time, not celebrity slap on the wrist time. But the real kicker? The FBI says the investigation is far from over. They've made it clear. More arrests are coming. The indictments already mention unnamed co-conspirators, and word is some of those might be other NBA figures still under the radar. Prosecutors are reportedly offering deals for cooperation, so you can bet there'll be more bombshells as some of these defendants start flipping to save themselves. For now, here's what we do know. The FBI has just blown the lid off a massive multi-year criminal empire tying together NBA insiders, organized crime, and high-tech fraud. This isn't just about a few reckless players. It's about an entire system that's been cashing in on gambling money without fully realizing the danger that comes with it. The big question now, can the NBA crawl its way back? Can it rebuild trust, bring in real reforms, and balance those billions in betting deals with keeping the game clean? Only time will tell. What do you think? Can the league recover from this chaos, or is the damage permanent? Let me know down below. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we've got more crazy updates coming your way. See you in the next one.